What up, guys? Welcome to another AMA this week. We're going to dive into your questions. You've left them below. Let's see what's going on with your health, with your brain, with your body, with your mind, with your soul. Let's get into it all. Let's rock. This question is, Brennan, what are your thoughts on corn oil? Corn oil is horrible. It's absolutely horrible. It's definitely a seed oil, but it's even one of the more heavily processed seed oils. It's really bad. I would try to not ingest it. If you have to ingest it here and there, maybe you eat some corn chips or something like that. It is what it is, but it's not good for you. This question is, Brennan, what are your thoughts on Manuka honey? So Manuka honey is very expensive honey, and there are some studies on it showing that it can help your immune system. It can help wound healing. However, some of those studies are funded by companies that make and sell Manuka honey. So I wonder what those same studies would show if you just used local raw honey. Now, I like Manuka honey. It's sort of one of those things like my girlfriend got me one for my birthday. It's one of those things. It's a $60 honey. I'm not going to just buy it if I'm just at the store. But she's like, yo, here's this for your birthday. And I like it. I use it. You can do a honey face mask. This is a common thing in skincare. You can put honey on your face, and sometimes I'll use that Manuka honey a little bit as like a skincare mask. It's pretty cool. So Manuka honey, totally valid. You don't need to spend the money on that, though. You can get local raw honey for much cheaper. This question is, Brennan, what is a good skin routine that you recommend? So what I like to do is shower with unchlorinated water. So I throw an organic Jaguar shower filter onto my shower. That's the first step. When I get out of the shower, I use beef tallow. That's pretty much all I do for my skin. And unless I get bad sleep or drink some alcohol or eat some food that isn't really great, which over the holidays, all that stuff kind of does hit a little bit. My skin is good. And skincare is sort of an illusion in terms of your skin health comes from within. If you want to look into some stuff you can do for exfoliation and stuff like that, there's different things you can do. Raw honey mask is kind of cool. You can do a clay mask, like a French green clay mask. We sell one. You can look up Santa Cruz Medicinals clay mask. It's made with French green clay, lavender, and CBD. That's really cool. I make a little mask of that, and sometimes I'll do that once a month. But other than that, I don't do that much for my skin. This question is, Brendan, do you have any opinions on surgery? So I'm assuming he's talking about surgery in terms of he injured something and he's going to an orthopedic surgeon and they're recommending, hey, you get surgery. I am actually very against surgery when you can avoid it. Now, obviously, there are some things that you might need to get surgery for. A really traumatic injury, something like that. Of course. Go get your surgery, listen to your doctors, all that, always. But, however, let's look at this. There's a study, for example, in which they take a bunch of people who have shoulder pain and who don't have shoulder pain, okay? So this mix of people that say they have shoulder pain and some people that say, I've never had shoulder pain ever. And they did MRIs on their shoulders. What they found is some people that have shoulder pain don't have any labrum tears. Some people who say they've never had shoulder pain ever have labrum tears. The results were all over the place. What does that mean for you? You could go to an orthopedic surgeon who their job is to look at your shoulder and probably recommend surgery. And they could say, hey, you have some labrum tears in your shoulder. You should go get surgery. Those two things don't really correlate, okay? There is also a study on knee surgery in which, I don't know how they even got away with this. They literally told some people that they did the knee surgery when they did not do it. And the placebo effect of the surgery was so strong that many of those people said their knee was completely better. What I would look towards instead of getting surgery or before surgery is something called functional range conditioning. And we're dropping an episode on functional range conditioning probably a week after this comes out. Functional range conditioning is what pro sports teams are using to rehab their bodies and take care of their joints, tendons, and ligaments. And you can do a lot of good there. I've used it myself. I highly recommend you look into it. Let's say your knee's hurting, just look up functional range conditioning knee and start to do some of those exercises. They are unlike any other physio exercises that you've seen out there. Try it out. Let me know how it goes. The next question is, Brennan, what are your thoughts on lentils as a protein source? So I'm actually really not the biggest fan of lentils. They really aren't that nutrient dense, and they are going to be more rich in that phytic acid that we've discussed. Now, is it the worst thing in the world? If you soak the lentils, is the phytic acid going to go down massively? Yes, for sure. So if you have them sort of as a side dish here and there, I think that's fine. I would not try to make my main source of protein come from lentils, chickpeas, none of that. This question is, Brennan, what are your thoughts on ramen noodles or cooked noodles? So if I'm going to eat some noodles, I'm going to eat white rice noodles because they're very low in those plant defense chemicals that we've discussed and definitely more tolerable for most people than wheat gluten. So if the noodle is a wheat gluten noodle, I'm probably going to avoid it. But rice noodles, totally valid recipe. Makes me think right now I should do a pho recipe. Pho, however, people say it. My Vietnamese homies in the comments, you can roast me. But pho recipe. So I want to do one of those. Jot that down. Brendan, what do you think of black seed oil? So I get this question a lot, and I think it's because seed oil, people go, well, what is this guy's opinions on black seed oil? Now, when we look at like stuff like hemp seed oil, black seed oil, it's very different than what I'm talking about with seed oil consumption in the United States, okay? We're talking about like a cold pressed seed oil and you're taking a tiny amount of it. That is way different than consuming a massive amount of processed seed oils, okay? So let's just separate those two. Black seed oil has some interesting studies behind it. There's even a study showing basically that it can help suppress fear. So that's a really interesting thing because there's certain areas of the brain that are, activate your fear, and black seed oil has been shown to help with that. It's not a supplement that I personally take because the research isn't so robust that I'm like, I need to include this in my routine. Some people enjoy it. I would be very skeptical about the source that you get it from. Just get it from a good source if you choose to take black seed oil. Let me know in the comments below if you've ever tried it, what your experience is with it. This question is, Brendan, what are your thoughts on True Height supplements? So True Height gummies are a vitamin gummy company, and they've chosen to go after the niche of telling people that taking these gummies will make them taller. And what they do is they put out a lot of paid ads to young kids, probably. I mean, I don't know how they do their ads, but like they tell people that these vitamins will make them taller, that they really work, that if you take these, you will get taller. This is asinine. This isn't true. Now, will having a severe nutrient deficiency, will that make you shorter? Yes, that can make you shorter. If you have a glaring nutrient deficiency for a long time, that can affect your height. Now, these gummy vitamins aren't going to fix that. You can just eat good food and get good sleep, and you'll probably reach your maximum height potential. The forms of nutrients that they use in True Height aren't even that great. It's also a gummy, which is, just the lowest grade in supplements and supplement manufacturing. They've just chosen to make a formula that they can make a lot of profit off of and tell people that it will make them taller, which is an issue that taps into lots of people's emotions. So they're able to sell this vitamin. It's like a quick purchase thing for a lot of people. It's not going to make you taller. Eat your steak, drink your milk, get good sleep. You'll reach your full height potential. But if your mom is 5'1" and your dad's 5'2", you're not going to take a gummy vitamin and be 6'4". It's just not going to happen, bro. Brendan, what do you think about eating Five Guys burgers every single day? And he said he's getting the protein style, so wrapped in lettuce. Will that negatively affect your health? No, I mean, I think that's a pretty decent option if that's like the situation you're in where that's like, something that you kind of have to do. However, they do use seed oils. I personally would worry about eating that seed oils every single day, just day after day after day. What you could do is make these at home. You can get a burger patty, smash it down with some onions, look up how to make a smash burger. And, you could set some lettuce aside in like a Pyrex thing and then have your burger patty. If you're at work, you have a microwave, hopefully, heat up that burger patty, take that lettuce and some of those toppings, and you can make it yourself and it'll be seed oil free. But if you have to eat Five Guys pretty often, I don't think it'll like massively negatively affect your health, especially if you're getting the protein style. So yeah, not the worst thing. Brendan, what are your thoughts on microwaves? I've heard they destroy the nutrients in food and they just wreck the calories. What's going on with microwaves? So I've looked very deep into microwaves. I've done a post on this in the past. Hey, well, I would love to hate on microwaves because it, kind of fits within, everything I talk about. Microwaves are not bad for you unless you're standing in front of them, which, don't stand near your microwave. That, of course, is real. Microwaves do not mess with your food in any negative way that makes it cancerous or makes it radioactive. I've looked at all the papers on this. And what you'll see is people talk about how, oh my God, microwaves break down the proteins. They denature the proteins. They change the nutrients. Heating up food does that. You could do the same study in an oven. And guess what? Yes, some of the proteins are going to get denatured. Even some calories, if the food is very water and fat dense and some of those calories basically get out of that food, yeah, they can change the caloric content of that. It's not a bad thing. It's not, when we talk about denaturing a protein, when you eat protein, your body is denaturing the protein. It's not the worst thing in the world. I'm not against microwaves to heat up food. Do not heat plastic in microwaves. Do not stand near microwaves. And they kind of just don't give the best texture to food. So I do prefer the air fryer or oven. But there's nothing wrong with microwaves at all. Brendan, what are your thoughts on Andrew Tate? So Andrew Tate took the world by storm over the last couple of years, putting out all this content about, basically being an alpha male, if you want to simplify it. Now, What happened was he came in with such a splash that it offended a lot of people because you see all this content and he's saying these sort of crazy things. And that's how he started to really come up. People were like, oh my God, who is this guy saying this stuff? And then I think he sort of layered in a lot of things that make a lot of sense for sure. Some of his content that you see, he's just making too much sense. Okay. Here is my opinion on Andrew Tate. I think he has some very, very solid views on what it means to be a man, what it means to be a provider, what it means to be free as a human being with freedom. And he has a lot of good takes on politics. I mean, he has a unique situation with that. He was in jail recently. And, you'll see these headlines come out like Andrew Tate in jail for abuse, basically, sex trafficking. And then obviously you look a little bit into it and you're like, there's no charges here. What is going on? So that's very interesting to me that he was put in jail for something that when you actually look into it, not a lot of charges there. However, what I will also say is personally, I don't think this guy used to be a good guy. I don't know about now, but all the stuff with managing the OnlyFans models and some of the stuff he did there, that's just like, it's kind of weird, bro. Like if one of my friends got into that and they're like, yeah, I have a stable of 90 women and I hit some of them with belts and they pay me, 50% of their earnings and I yell at them. Like that's legit what he was doing. That's okay. I mean, it is what it is. It's not really my vibe and I don't really like that. I think that's kind of creepy. I think it's weird. Maybe that was a past life of his. I don't know the guy, but that stuff's kind of weird, bro. Personally, that's what I think. Also, I've seen some Andrew Tate clips. Like recently, he did an interview, and the interviewer asked him if he cried when he was in jail at all. And he said, I did not cry. Crying is like an act where you go to cry. He's like, I did have tears come down my face. It's like, bro, it's okay to be emotional as a man sometimes in certain situations, and it doesn't make you less of a man. And so what I worry about with some of his rhetoric is that men will think that it's not okay to be in touch with your emotions, to be emotional at all. When it is totally okay. And now your actions shouldn't be erratic or you shouldn't act on, horrible emotions, stuff like that. But it's okay to cry as a man. It's totally okay. And a lot of his stuff that he says about women, now I know this isn't his intention because when you look deeper into it, he actually says many things to the contrary, but a lot of the stuff that goes viral, if people just interpret that, it could lead them to hate women or dislike them or view women as all manipulative and bad. That's also wrong. There are a lot of bad women out there who will try to manipulate you and take advantage of you. 100% you need to be aware of that, and I think that's why his content gets a lot of traction. However, there are also many good women out there who aren't constantly trying to play a manipulation game. So it's interesting stuff. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think below. Brendan, when are the organic Jaguar boxers coming out? So we're hoping to launch these before Christmas. We're basically waiting on all the inventory to arrive. Some has already gotten there, but we're waiting on all sizes to come in until we launch it. We want everybody to be able to get the organic Jaguar boxers. Really excited on these. Obviously, just went down to San Diego, and that was a big part of the trip. It was just to touch up some stuff on the finalization of launching these organic cotton boxers. Man, we're going to come out with some serious heat here. Like a lot of the cotton boxers that I've used and bought, one, very expensive, very overpriced. And a lot of these companies come from big clothing companies, so their markups are just going to be insane. But the problem with a lot of them is they just weren't it, man. Like some of them were too long. There was one pair that I got that was like really like hard, definitely not like properly spun cotton. We have the right length. We have them extremely soft. The design is just way better than any other cotton boxer that I've ever seen out there. And they're amazing. So I'm really stoked for them. Keep an eye out probably like December 20th, December 22nd. But you'll see. We'll post about it. This guy says it's not really a question, but I saw your logo on Mason Fowler's shorts. Mason Fowler is one of the best jiu-jitsu athletes of all time right now. He's probably right behind Gordon Ryan and one of the best of all time. And yeah, he had the Santa Cruz Medicinals logo on his shorts on his win against Haisam Rita last night on the UFC Fight Pass. Mason is one of the few athletes we sponsor. I don't sponsor athletes like that, bro. I've known Mason forever. I've known Mason and Yuri for a long time. So yeah, we sponsor them. He drinks the electrolytes. He takes Food of the Gods. He takes our creatine. He uses our protein powder. He uses the CBD stuff. And he's been rocking with us for a long time. So Yeah, it was cool to see him do his thing, get another win, and hopefully he will grapple Gordon Ryan in a few months. Gordon's pulled out, I don't know. Maybe he's scared of Mason. We'll see what happens, but I got Mason in that one. Brendan, what are your thoughts on Gary Brecka? Gary Brecka's gone viral lately. He works with Dana White. He was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he's one of these guys who has written a lot and talked a lot about different things you can do for your health. I think he describes himself as a biohacker, basically stuff you can put into your body, do to your body to enhance your health. Now, the interesting thing about Gary Brecka is, listen, guys, he is a billionaire, Dana White, crediting him for helping massively change his health. Dana White basically said he was on death's door, and he went to Gary Brecka, did everything he said, and honestly now Dana White is jacked and he looks way better. Now, here's the very interesting thing. You have all these people coming out scrutinizing Gary Brecka because, he gets this thing wrong. He said something wrong about this. And I'll admit, I've seen the guy say some stuff about red light therapy, say some stuff about fasting that I'm like, what is this dude talking about? But here's the thing. He has changed somebody's life, and he is changing a lot of people's lives by the information that he puts out. When he talks about your methylation pathways, and you can do genetic testing to see if you're a poor methylator, so you're not going to methylate B vitamins as well. And he talked about, basically fake folic acid being added to our grains, fortified grains. All that stuff's 100% true, and if you want, there's a lot of credentialism that goes on in the world. Everyone wants everybody to have all these credentials. So go listen to Dr. Rhonda Patrick talk about methylation, because she's a Berkeley, PhD. Go listen to her talk about it then. That's fine. Whatever makes you okay with getting the information that benefits your health, cool, go for it. But the hate that Gary Brecka gets is so funny because, again, you have a billionaire paying him to improve his health, and it worked. But you have all these science-based folks. Oh, well, Gary Brecka doesn't have this certification. He doesn't have this. That's fine. That's fine with me. The guy puts out a lot of good information. Some of the stuff he says is wrong, sure. But overall, I think he's putting out good information and useful information that people can actually grab and use. That is the problem with many of these Western medicine doctors. They don't put out anything that people can listen to and then go change their life. Hey, try doing this protocol. Try eating eggs in the morning. Try eating, steak and salad for lunch. And then try eating meat and, potatoes and fruit for dinner. That's a protocol I put out there, and people have done it and been like, holy shit, this massively changed my life. Meanwhile, they'll go to their Western medicine doctor and they'll be like, no, you should stop eating meat, go plant-based. This is why you have people like Gary Brecka getting so famous. Overall, I'm a fan of him. Let me know what you guys think below. This question is, Brendan, should I wake up and turn the lights on basically in my room, or is it okay to wake up in a dark room? So when you wake up, you want to get light in. That even includes artificial light. Yes, blue light isn't the worst thing in the world in the morning. Now, when I wake up, the first thing I do is I go outside and I try to find the sun. Even if there's clouds in Northern California, it's oftentimes a little foggy, a little cloudy, I will try to go find the sun where it's coming from, and I will try to get some light in my eyes. No, I'm not staring at the sun, but you want to get light in your eyes. You've heard Huberman talk about this, who's a ophthalmologist at Stanford. You want to get light into your eyes. If it's completely dark when you're waking up, maybe you're one of those 4 a.m. guys, you do want to get artificial light in. You can even use like a ring light. Obviously, there's red light devices and stuff like that where you can really dial in like the spectrum of light you're getting. But honestly, for most people, dude, you don't need to worry about that. You can literally get a ring light and get artificial light into your eyes. This question is, Brendan, salted versus unsalted butter, basically. This dude can only find unsalted butter. That's totally fine. I use unsalted grass-fed butter. That's what I use. That's what I look for when I'm at the store, because I like to add salt and be able to add the exact amount of salt that I want when I'm making my eggs in the morning or if I'm making a recipe. So it's totally fine. Try to find butter that is obviously grass-fed, but like you'll know good butter because it'll have that sort of deeper orange color, okay? That's really what I look for. If I'm comparing, let's say, 2 brands of grass-fed butter that are, similar, if one has a bit more color to it, like that deeper yellow color, that is what I'm going to look for. Brendan, starting January, I'm going to do midnight shifts. So he's going to be working, probably 12 to 6, something like that, 12 to 6 a.m. So he wants to know, what can he do? So first of all, and a lot of people are going to give me hate for this, but I do not care. The best thing to do for your health, unless this is maybe something where it's a nursing profession or something that's going to lead you to make a substantial amount of income and just have a really good job, and this is something you have to do for a short period of time. If this is something you have to do for a long period of time and you don't really care too much about the job, I'd probably leave that job, because shift work sleep disorder and just staying up 12 to 6 for extended periods of time ages you massively and messes with your brain health so much. It's absolutely insane. Now, if this is a short period of time thing and it can lead you to better opportunities, Go for it. Let's get into it. Here's what you're going to do. You are going to use a little bit of caffeine. When you wake up at midnight, I would do a tiny amount of caffeine. I'd probably do 100 micrograms, something like that, 100 milligrams of caffeine, okay? The next thing you're going to do is when it comes 6 a.m. and now you need to wind down and go to sleep, I would have L-theanine, passion flower, lemon balm. We sell that in our Santa Cruz Paleo Deep Sleep Caps, but you can just recreate that recipe right there. I would take that at about 6, like when you're getting off of work. I would also take 200 to 300 milligrams of magnesium glycinate at that time as well. What I would then do is put on blue light blocking glasses on your drive home from work, or even in the last hour or two of work if you can. I would make that drive home. Do not listen to loud music. I know you might be amped because your cortisol is getting a little high because it's the morning. Calm yourself down as much as possible. Get home. Do a breathing routine in which you're lengthening your exhale. There's a bunch of different routines out there, but you want to start to lengthen your exhale to bring your heart rate down. Then you're going to get into your room, and you want it to be as dark as possible in there. Like as dark as possible. You shouldn't be able to see your hand in front of your face when all the lights are off. Put little electrical tape over any outlets or anything that's emitting any light. You're going to get into bed with an eye mask, and you're going to sleep. What I would do is sleep from about 7 to 11 a.m., 7 to noon maybe, okay? So yeah, you're only going to get your 5, maybe if you really are tired, get that 6 hours, but 6 hours is probably the max there. You're going to get up, and you're going to get outside in the sunlight, get as much sun as you can. This is when you want to hit your workout. You're not going to do the coffee at this time. You're really going to get outside and like just crank up your cortisol as much as you can, okay? And then what I would also do is before you have to actually go to work in the evening, so probably around 8 p.m., I would do a 20-minute nap, okay? There's a protocol for you right there. Hope that helps. Brendan, can dried fruit replace fresh fruit entirely? No. The answer is no. So with fresh fruit, you get a lot of stuff like prebiotics, antioxidants, polyphenols, and literal hydration. You get water, structured water in fruit. So I would not want to replace all the fresh fruit I eat with dried fruit. Dried fruit also contains more sugar. And yes, these are natural sugars. I'm not completely against them, but they do contain more sugar. And you're also going to get a lowering in some of the minerals and vitamins, as a lot of those are basically captured in that structured water that is in fruit. So I wouldn't eliminate all the fresh fruit. Obviously, you're probably talking about traveling or something like that. Some dried fruit here and there, totally fine. But get that fresh fruit. The next question is, Brendan, what do you think about living on the road full-time, working remotely, just kind of traveling around, working remote? I love going on the road. Like, I love just, like, hitting these trips to San Diego. I'm going to Austin, Texas next week. Like, I sort of love that. Like, I totally understand what you're feeling there. However, I do think eventually it's sort of natural to settle in, get a home, and sort of have a home base at least. But when you're young, man, go for it. Go explore. All right, guys, that is it for this week's AMA. We are doing a sale on SantaCruzPaleo.com right now. Use the code December15 at checkout. It's going to save you 15%. That will end, after December. So go get some protein, some food of the gods, some magnesium. We're going to restock the vitamin D later this month, and a lot of electrolytes are getting restocked next week. So hopefully by the time you're listening to this, you see some flavors up for grabs. Go get them. Stay healthy. Love y'all. Peace.